If you're like me, you're amazed at what you can now do on your phone. Well, Diane Pearlman of the Berkshire Film and Media Collaborative sat down with Connecting Point correspondent Carolee McGrath to discuss BFMC's upcoming workshop at UMass Springfield, how to shoot a movie with your iPhone, and the state of film and media production right here in Western Massachusetts.
It's a one-day class, really to teach the fundamentals. Like if you have an iPhone, you know you can shoot video on it, but how do you do it? And I think there are people that would really like to, shoot maybe a project for their English class or something with their family. So this is really to teach the fundamentals, how you set up a shot, how you light a shot, how you can edit it, to get people excited about using their phones to make videos.
And how do you light a shot? Because I'm a big, I like the flash on. Like when you're just taking a still picture, I like light. And my husband always yells, no, everyone's gonna get red eyes. Don't put the light on. But how do you light when you're using a cell phone to shoot a video?
Well, I'm a producer, so I always hire the right people to do the lighting. But there are ways of setting it up so it doesn't, you don't shoot into the sun because then people are all shadowy. I mean, there's just some basic techniques in having some side light on people and where to put them in a room and how to make sure everybody's seen. Just very basic, elements.
And is this useful, would you say, like for a small business owner? Maybe you're just launching something and you want to put something on your Facebook page, but you don't have the money to hire a firm. How do you?
Exactly. I mean, we really would like to, our mission is to really grow the industry in Western Mass. So having more people be video literate, as we call it, and able to shoot even short videos for their businesses. A lot of people say, well, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have $25,000 or whatever. And I sort of say to them, if you have 3 events during the year, you can shoot some footage, and then at the end of the year, you can just hire an editor to put it all together. So I think it's getting people out there shooting their business, meetings, their celebrations, whatever, just to really become sort of facile with video and not be so scared of it.
Now you have built your career doing this. Are you amazed at the technology? Because like 25 years ago, we'd never be able to do something like this. But now I look at my 16-year-old who is using his iPhone all over the place, and I'm stunned by what he gets.
Well, absolutely. When I started in the business, which was a while ago, we were still shooting on film. So I ran a studio in the Berkshires called Mass Illusion in the 1990s, and we worked on a lot of big Hollywood films, everything from Judge Dredd to What Dreams May Come to The Matrix. And we were shooting film and taking it down to New York to get it developed and then sending shots out to Los Angeles. So that seems like the olden days now. I mean, there are some people that are sort of going back to film, but really the ease of digital has changed the entire marketplace.
And what kind of opportunities are there for people? Because, when you think of like a young kid who is thinking about colleges and they want to, go to Hollywood and be a producer, the first place that comes to mind is maybe NYU. Oh, they're going to go to New York. But are there opportunities here in Western Mass?
There actually are. One of the things that we do at BFMC is networking events. So we have one a quarter, and we sort of move them around the counties. And the last one we did happened to be in the Berkshires, and we sort of break people into groups. And one of the young people said, I came to the last networking event and met a gentleman named John Nugent, who has a visual effects company in Pittsfield, and he's now working for him. So he was sort of an artist, and now he's learning how to be a compositor. So there are definitely opportunities here, and that's part of our mission, too, is to create those opportunities for young people to stay in the region. You don't have to go to LA, you don't have to go to New York. There's actually a lot happening here in Western Mass.
Which, as a mother, I'd be thrilled if my kids didn't go to LA or go to New York. It would be great. Go to the Berkshires. There's lots of opportunities in the Berkshires. So what would you say to kids? This is a hard business. You have quite a career. I mean, working on movies like The Matrix and Die Hard and those others. What do you say to a kid who is just starting out? What does it take to make it?
Well, you have to have a lot of passion for it. You have to really want it. I know people that want to be screenwriters, and I say write every day. So I think even more so in Western Mass, there are opportunities to get on set with people. They're incredible professionals that live and work here. Cynthia Wade, who's won an Academy Award for a documentary film that she did. There are people that travel all over the world, but they make their home in Western Mass. And those people are really open to talking and having internships with those young people. And I think maybe even more so than in the cities. People really want to share their experiences, and they really encourage young people. So whenever there's shoots here, we always put people on the set. Last year we did a course called How to Be a Production Assistant, because when production productions come here, that's what they want. They want people who know the area. And so when we shot a film last year, we actually put a couple of people from our class on the set, and that's kind of how it gets going.
Okay, and tell us about some of the upcoming projects you have personally.
Well, I'm just finishing a project with the actor Karen Allen. As everyone knows, she's been in 50-plus films and is an award-winning actress, and is also a theatrical director with a great success. And about 2 years ago, she decided she wanted to shoot her first short film. I was a producer on it with another gentleman, Brian Long, and we shot it actually in the Berkshires in Sandusfield, and it's based on a Carson McCullers short story, Tree or Rock a Cloud. It's now just finished, and we got into our first film festival in Manchester, England. So Karen's going over there. So we're sort of in post-production, and a lot of other smaller film projects looking to shoot in Western Mass, which is really exciting.
Okay, so for people who are looking to follow in your footsteps, they go Saturday to the UMass Center in Springfield. Tell me how they learn more about that.
You can go to our website, berkshirefilm.org, and there's a place to sign up right there. It's a 6-hour class taught by an incredible woman, Erica Spiz, who is the head of the video department for Jane Iredale Cosmetics and a documentary filmmaker. And it's really 6 hours of just immersion into it to have fun.
All right, Diane, thank you so much for coming and sharing all that with us today.
Thanks for having me.